Good afternoon, this is RFC Maki with yet one more battle report from an online sim game of Birds of Steel. I always say that if you've been following me, you know, but I don't know that anybody's following me really, but that's alright. If you've been following me, you know that I've been trying to earn my 100 kills in the Focke-Wulf 190A5 in an attempt to get the 100th kill or the skin that you get for the 100th kill. I got that this weekend. This game happened a little bit earlier than that, so I had not quite earned it. So I'm still flying the checker-nosed plane, which you get for 80 kills. To tell you the truth, I think that this skin looks way nicer than the one you get for 100. So if I fly this plane in the future, this sexy little bird is the one I'm going to fly. I flew a number of games on this. This would have been this most recent Friday or Saturday, and I flew a number of games. Had a really nice time playing with some friends. And this would have been one of the few games that I actually ran for myself. So as you can see, the best way to do well in the A5 is to immediately take off, circle your airfield, gain some altitude. Usually I try to get around 300 meters at least before I start heading towards the center of the field, and I'm headed back in that direction, and I try to make sure that by the time I get to the end of my runway, I'm something close to 300 kilometers per hour. This plane seems to do best when you start at a cruising speed of 350, so by the time I get to the center of the field, I can make sure that my engine is built up. I'm stopped reaching for altitude, my engine is built up to about 350 kilometers per hour. In this game, there was one other player, goes by the name of Werewolf. I've flown against him before. Very good guy, and so I was hoping to find him in the midst of all the rest of the AI. The settings for this game are sim settings, so locked pilots to cockpits, with sim flight settings, engine torque and all of that turned on. But this time, I noticed a lot of my friends like to fly with the map on, so I did leave the map markers on in this case. I've been sort of torn about that. In one sense, it is a way to help you find enemies, sort of, when you're looking for them or when you don't see them. Helps you spot guys who are sneaking around from the outside. And that may not necessarily be all that realistic. On the other hand, in some ways, it does simulate having someone else, either other planes spot or even ground crew spot and radio to you the presence of enemies. And here I've found a Spitfire flown by Werewolf, and he doesn't see me, I don't believe, but he's flying with a lot of turns, and that Spitfire can just plain out-turn Focke-Wulf 190, so I'm beginning to make a horrible mistake thinking I can sneak up on him. I can tell that he doesn't know I'm here. Dodging two of my own planes that are also on his tail there. I'm thinking I can sneak up on him, and I just turn so much I just can't seem to get on his tail. In one sense, this is great for practicing for not losing an enemy, especially since I'm relying entirely on vision, not on the map in this case. On the other hand, you can see that I've already lost a lot of altitude, and every time I pull a turn like this, I lose some of my speed. So I'm really getting bled for speed and altitude, putting myself at a big disadvantage. If he were to check me and to turn around and try to come after me, there's not much I could do to escape. So this is really not a smart thing for me to do. Again, I'm sticking on his tail, keeping track of him, and just hoping, maybe even gaining on him a little bit there, but hoping for the opportunity to catch up to him. Here, I went to go after him, and I realized I was going to smash my own plane. I sacrificed staying on his tail in order to avoid crashing into my own ally. Lost him, and then refound him visually there as he circles around and around and around. So clearly I should have just let him go in this case. He wasn't going to allow me to turn, or at least let him go, try to reset, climb, and try to find him again. But I was desperate to try to get the kill. So made at least a bad decision. But there I try to use gravity to help me make a turn sharper. And once again, he is just constantly turning and will not fly straight, which great defensive flying makes it incredibly difficult for me to get on his tail. If I had a longer convergence, maybe I could have put a few shots on him, but my convergence is set to about 150. so it makes it difficult for me to shoot somebody from afar. This plane just rose on just on the outside of the frame bar of the windshield. And I'm still trying to come after him there. That plane right in front of me is not him, in fact. It turns out that was a G-50, one of the Italian planes on my own side, and that got me off the plane badly enough. So here I gave up on the Spitfire, and a Gladiator presents itself to me. The AI Gladiator seems to have spotted me and pulled hard, faster than I could pull, so I lost track of him. And once again, in a continuation of bad choices, I continue after the Gladiator for a little bit, hoping that I can get up behind him. Here I've got a pretty good lineup going, setting up as I'm flying into him. And just as I'm about to drop my nose to get a good shot, pulls up and sharper and higher than I can and turns and out-turns me. So several minutes into the game, spotted two guys, tracked them, and just can't seem to do anything about it. Here I am, hugging the ground, and finally, sometime around here, I think I just decided, you know what, let's go ahead and stop, gain some altitude, and reset. I just can't seem to get on this guy's tail, and I'm just getting a bit frustrated. Still able to visually track him, but you can see by the way that the cockpit is jerking around a little bit that I've lost energy. So instead here, I decided to go ahead and gain some altitude, reset a tad, see what I can do. Look around. Now, I did get a little bit of an advantage. I was aiming a little bit. Just at that point, I saw that Werewolf had been shot down by an AI. And knowing that, I know that meant he would be respawning soon. And he'd be respawning at his own airfield. So here, I scanned the airfield looking to see if he's to get the message that says he's ready for battle, if he's beginning to take off. And I don't hit guys on the airfield from a fighter plane. That doesn't really seem all that sporting, especially since the airfields are relatively close to each other. So instead, I gain altitude knowing that he won't be able to that quickly. And my idea, usually I try to track them into the center of the field first. So here I've taken off, and somewhere down there, I actually am, as I was playing the game, I could actually see him. So I was tracking him. He was flying in, I could tell, the white Mustang. And rather than gain altitude right away, he hugged the ground, and I figured, all right, if you hug the ground and get all the way to the factory, then you become fair game. He's now in the middle of the field, and there he goes, rising up. Clearly, again, not aware that I'm there, but a couple quick shots and shear both of his wings off. So that worked out pretty right. A fair decent boom and zoom. I've now reset altitude, and I'm going to sit here, and once again, look around. I'm in the middle of the field there, so make a little bit of a turn, and again, check the airfield to see if I can spot when he's there and when he takes off again. Hopefully try to do the same thing. He'd probably be a little bit more alert this time than he was last time, knowing that I might be around and looking to get on his tail. I think that was kill number 91 towards my total, something around there. So once again, Werewolf has taken off and is flying the Mustang. And for the life of me, I can't spot his plane. Oh, there it is. It's just over the forest. It's difficult to see. It's just over that big patch of forest outside of my left wing panel there. And so I'm working my way back behind him, hoping for a boom and zoom. Staying high enough where I can get some energy, but low enough where I can still see him. I let him get past me a little bit, pull a sharp turn to follow through, and there he goes, rising up. Now he rose up really sharp, and I did not anticipate that sharp rise. I go to fire and miss. He kind of wings over something just past me, so I lost sight of him. So I try to stay level in altitude now that I've gained the altitude advantage. Looking around to see if I can actually spot him. Sorry for the game stutter there. It happens sometimes in recordings. Looking around to see if I can spot him, and sure enough, there he is, again, having burned all of his energy down just below above those trees. And so, having failed my first boom, I zoom back up. Now I'm on him for a second boom at a bad angle, and I don't know what he's shooting at, but he pulls up and stalls out there again. He's really at an energy disadvantage, so I go ahead and try to turn to keep sight of him. Lost him, and I use whatever. There he goes behind me. Use whatever energy I can to get back up. Let's see if I can't track him a little bit. That's 2 failed passes on him. Now he's back behind just over the trees. So there he goes, just hugging that road there, just past the explosion. So I roll over, drop my nose to get some energy, and zoom up on him. There he is, rising up again. And just as I get up there, he turns a little bit, and I may have tagged him with a shot or two there, but definitely did not down him. I don't see any smoke trailing out behind him, so I don't know if I actually got any hits on him or not, but that was close. That sort of turn maneuver at the top of that turn was pretty good. And again, I've lost sight of him, but am scanning where I anticipate that he went. Sharp turn there he is. I picked him up. He's turned again, and I can't turn that sharply. I pull back up, drop my nose in order to complete a sharper turn, and follow him up into the sky. Again, he doesn't seem to know I'm there, and with a few shots, sheared off his right wing. And right through his parachute. So had that been an actual flight, I probably would have got his parachute tangled in my propeller, and maybe we all would have done badly. There, I detected a couple shots from an AI on me, so I pulled a split S in order to try to get defensive. It's about the only thing I can do to get those stupid gladiators off my tail. Sometimes pull up and turn, looking back to see where the AI is that shot at me. And I've been flying with 20% fuel in order to take off faster, and here I pay the price with my plane losing energy. I try to make an attempt to land on the road, only to find out that the time in the game runs out. There's nothing I can do. Cheers, and thanks for watching.